kiss your ass, Mr. Postman. While I was in the process of making this video, some houses caught on fire over on the next block. I'm gonna talk about this later in this video. Y'all know how I am about these signs and shit. Uh-oh. This energy. I'm in a zone like a motherfucker. They trying to stop me. They trying to stop us. But they just can't do it.
Oh! Froggy went a courting, he did right. Cramble.
I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the shit that I was going to talk about in the last video. Be quiet. But this video is mainly about us waking up, our supernatural gifts, our supernatural powers, and I'm finna tell y'all what they doing to try to stop us. But like I said, they know they can't stop us. They just trying to, these wicked motherfuckers, fallen angels, Illuminati. They know they can't stop us, but they trying to prevent us from waking up as long as they possibly can. So let's do that shit, motherfucker. First, let me mention this about what I said in that last video, talking about that movie that was called Time Lapse. I mentioned the Friday trilogy. Like most of these movies, is about the end, last days, opening of the sixth seal and all this. I told y'all you got Craig and Debo in this movie Friday. And I said that Craig is like Christ and Debo is like demon. Now, in the third Friday movie, what was it called? Friday After Next? They had Damon. See? Like demon. See? You niggas think I be play pimping, don't you? Now, going back to the other Friday movie, which was next Friday, they had the antagonist, even though Debo was in this movie too, but they had the antagonist was who? Baby Joker. Joker. See? I told you niggas. I told y'all the Joker is the devil. And when they make these movies, there are things they do like this, certain names, certain scenes you think is irrelevant, but it's all based on prophecy, last days, end times, so-called black man and black woman rising up, so on and so forth. Now, I want to give a shout out to some of my subscribers before I continue this video. First of all, shout out to my brother Riz. After I made that last video, he put up this, he left a comment, and he was talking about that chick, Callie, whatever her name is. He was talking about her sweater. Talking about it looked like that DNA shit. Yep. DNA Helix. And they had a show called Helix. Talking about some kind of outbreak or something, you know, and some crazy shit going on, you know. Good show, by the way. But the number 8 that I was telling y'all about, 88 constellations, and they always showing that in the movies and all that shit. And of course, I was talking about the number 8 that they was talking about in that movie called Time Lapse. The number 8 as y'all can see, is a symbol of infinity and a constant flow of energy and power. Unlimited power! Motherfucker. That's what the number 8 means, among many other things. But check this out. I'm gonna go back to this shit too. Talking about 8 is a symbol of infinity. I'm gonna talk about this shit in a minute. But check this out, niggas. This is the same symbol. See, it just turned sideways, like number 8. Infinity symbol. Which also corresponds to the helix, that DNA symbol that we be seeing. And as you can see, they also use this symbol showing the snake. Kundalini energy, niggas. It's your ass, Mr. Postman. Also, I want to give a shout out to my boy Brent Haynes. He mentioned talking about, when I was talking about the green light and shit, emitting from their camera. And he was talking about, I talked about the Hulk. I be showing the Hulk fist and all this shit. And I'm always showing green and all that shit. He mentioned that gamma radiation. And that's what that shit was about. See, that's about us. That radiation. Gamma radiation. And, of course, I always talk about the sun. Which I'm finna talk about that in a minute, too. What these wicked motherfuckers are doing. We got this energy. Obviously, y'all know we got this energy coming from the sun that's waking us up, giving us energy, giving us spiritual downloads, sun of righteousness. That radiation coming from the sun is taking us to the next level, while at the same time, that radiation and other energy that's radiation is fucking up these wicked ass people. And like I said, in a minute, I'm going to tell y'all what these idiots have been doing, which ain't nothing new. I've talked about this before, but I'm going to tell y'all exactly what happened just recently with all this energy and shit going on. And the last person that I want to mention who left a comment, he was talking about Finn, because y'all know I mentioned that person. His name was Jasper in the movie, but his real last name was Finn. But the other character, they used his real name in the story, Finn. And I was talking about that this story was about the end, the last days, and all that shit. And I completely forgot. And my boy mentioned this shit in his comment. He said, Finn means the end. The end. Finn. And Finn is the Latin root word. It's Latin, which means the end. Okay, y'all, check this out. I showed a clip in the beginning of the last video. And as y'all can see behind me in the sky, chemtrails all over the place. And of course, powers that be, like I said, they know they can't stop us from waking up. But they trying to prevent us from waking up, stop us from waking up as long as they possibly can, you know. And these chemtrails play a major factor in this shit. Talked about chemtrails all the time. They use chemtrails for many reasons. And one of the reasons is to poison the shit out of us. They, like I said before, we living in the last days. And all this shit is based on prophecy, the script. So obviously, like I said before, I'm not going to give these idiots all the credit with the madness that's going on. But they still got a hand in all this shit. They definitely got a hand in this weather. And I don't know if y'all noticed, that last part of that video, of the last video that I made, I was fucking exhausted. Obviously, I put in some major work on that video, but the reason why I was exhausted is because the goddamn chemtrails. And this is something that I've been complaining about since I started on YouTube. They be poisoning the shit out of us, me, trying to stop us from waking up, doing what we doing, preaching, speaking the truth, going through this ascension. But those of us who are on this high level, obviously, like I said so many times, everything that these idiots do, it just make us stronger. Now, me fucking just exhausted, wasn't feeling well based on the chemtrails. But, like I said not too long ago, 2019 was the last time I got really, really sick from these chemtrails. And of course, all kinds of shit went down in Hell House that I talked about. From that moment on, it led up to the coronavirus.
Oh my God!
And since that time, I haven't been sick on that level from the chemtrails. Because, like I said, this ain't just about me. This is about y'all as well. During that time from 2019 to now, many of us went to a high level spiritually. And anything that the enemy is doing to us to try to stop us from rising, it don't work that well no more. Obviously, it still affects us to some degree, but it don't work like it used to, because we continue to go to a high level spiritually, ascension levels, so on and so forth, getting closer to getting the hell up out of this physical world, physical body. So I got a little bit sick from the chemtrails during this time, mostly based on the fact how it made me sleepy. So I was drowsy and shit and trying to get this video done. So during this time, the last week or so, leading up to this last video that I made, and I mentioned this in one of the videos, one of the last videos, it was 70 degrees and 40 degrees the next day. So obviously that type of rise and drop of temperature gonna fuck you up. But just recently, when I was making the last video, it was 80 degrees, and the next day it was 43 degrees. And like I said, this type of shit is based on the end times that we're living in. It ain't always about these wicked ass people with their chemtrails and heart machines and all that shit. But they do got a hand in this fucked up weather. Don't make no fucking sense. 70 degrees one day, 40 degrees the next. And it got colder than that during that time. I told y'all I saw it snowing. I showed that shit. But just recently, it was 80 degrees and then 43 degrees the next day. So them chemtrails was affecting me a little bit. But they do this shit around this time when they know some major energy is coming through. Yeah. And as y'all know, we just had what was it called? A pink supermoon. Look at that shit. Major energy was coming from that shit. And every time this type of shit happens, these idiots start spraying more chemtrails and putting extra stronger strains in that shit because they know what time it is. So one of the reasons why I'm telling y'all this is y'all gotta be careful. I'm an expert on getting sick from these chemtrails. Even though, like I said, it don't get me sick like it used to. I'm an expert on this shit. And I can tell they putting some extra shit up in that shit to make us sick. Wonder why. It's your ass, Mr. Postman. Fuck! Before I tell y'all about an actual so-called dream, let me tell y'all about this fantasy that the player Lord had. Waking up to all this knowledge and information about who we are, gods, goddesses, unlimited power, so on and so forth. Creators. And this is one of the reasons why people be like, you gotta be careful what you think about, because you can manifest that shit. I started to fantasize about my life in the heavens after all this bullshit is over. In other words, ascended in the heavenly realms, put the enemy in a place, and chilling in heaven. Because while we are here in this physical reality, we can create anything that we want right now that'll be ready for us in the next life if we choose to do so. So I started fantasizing about a lot of things, seeing true family members, going to different realities and so on and so forth. But the one thing that I thought about, because I'm so fucking tired of this shit, I was thinking about just relaxing at home in heaven. So what I fantasized about was I had fantasized about having my own home, castle, whatever you want to say. And I was thinking about in the back of the house, I would have like on the balcony, I'd be chilling on the balcony in my huge castle, but I'm chilling on the balcony looking out over the land. Have so-called, planets, in the sky, beautiful open field, the sunsets, and I was just gonna be chilling on the balcony, looking off into the distance. That was my fantasy after all this bullshit is over with. Sounds familiar, don't it? They made the Avengers Infinity War. My big black nigga Thanos, what the fuck did he do? He snapped his fingers, killed all the motherfuckers, went home, and was chilling, looking off in the distance. Same fucking scenario that I was fantasizing about. Looking off in the distance, field and sunset and all that shit. I fantasized about that shit, y'all. About 7 years before they made that movie. I told y'all, they ain't making up shit. When they put these types of things in the movies, it's always based on reality, based on us, the gods, the goddesses, the kings, the queens. So this fantasy that I just thought up, I didn't really think that shit up. It was reality. It was something that I already knew was gonna happen. And that's why I thought about that shit years before they put it in the movie. Thanos snapping his finger, getting rid of all them motherfuckers, and going home, chilling like a motherfucker, looking off in the distance, sun in the sky, and all that shit. God, I am, we are in the process of waking up. And I told y'all, no matter what we think about, it's already been done. We just don't know it. Because we live in the Matrix, and that's why they always say ain't nothing new under the sun. Over the years, I talked about Bruce Lee and Godzilla. This dream should put in perspective for all of you, just to show you how powerful we are and how weak the enemy is. And this includes the fallen angels, Satan, and all the motherfuckers who's supposed to be so powerful and unstoppable and all this shit. Bullshit. Now listen to this shit. Listen to this shit, niggas. Over the years, I've talked about seeing Godzilla in my so-called dreams, which is a representation of the dragon in the Bible. And every time I seen that motherfucker, this is how he looked. That big, huge, creepy looking motherfucker. And I mentioned a number of times I could actually feel that hardcore, evil, negative energy when I see Godzilla in my so-called dreams. Horrible ass feeling, to say the least. When this shit went down in 2019, and I ended up leaving, and I went on YouTube for a whole year, started in 2000, from 2019, and came back in August of 2020. Of course, during that time, this is when I talked about the situation with his family. Mama got sick, passed away. I got rid of all that negative energy, so on and so forth. Right around the time that shit started, I saw Godzilla in my so-called dream. And this motherfucker was it's like I was in buildings and shit. And I'm moving around trying to get away from this motherfucker. Godzilla is tearing buildings up, trying to get me. Yeah. And remember, this big motherfucker look exactly like the new Godzilla that they've been showing in the movies and shit. He tearing the buildings up trying to get me and shit. Play a lord. I ain't scared at all. No fear, motherfucker. In the spirit, G-O-D. I basically just, because I'm in the spirit, I started flying. And I flew a few blocks away and looked back. And Godzilla was still over there tearing up buildings and shit, trying to get me and shit. Yeah, even though I ain't even over there no more. Yeah, dummy. But anyway. After this particular dream, where this motherfucker Godzilla is trying to get me, just before the coronavirus started,
Oh my gosh!
I saw Godzilla in my so-called dream again. Now, There were times, a number of times, where I seen Godzilla in my so-called dream, and there was only one time where I was about to go to war with that motherfucker and kill his ass. Or her. Godzilla is female. But something during that particular time told me, wait, don't do it. Don't go out there yet. Because I was like in a house and Godzilla outside. That was the only dream I had where Godzilla was in the so-called dream, but I didn't see him. Godzilla was outside and I was in the house. And I was going to go out there and beat that motherfucker ass, but something told me to wait. So just before the coronavirus started, I saw Godzilla again in my so-called dream. This Godzilla. Walking down the street. Big motherfucker. And as soon as I was in the house when he was walking down the street. As soon as I saw Godzilla, I said, fuck it. I figuratively and I literally stood up. Remember, y'all know how big Godzilla is and how that motherfucker look. When I stood up, because I'm finna kill this motherfucker. When I stood up, I was the same size as Godzilla. I grabbed Godzilla by the motherfucking arms, ripped the motherfucker's arms off. Godzilla hit the ground and died. But wait, there's more. Check this out, y'all. Listen to this. Remember I told y'all, this is how Godzilla look every time I see him. Her, whatever. Every time I see Godzilla, this is how Godzilla looks. But when I figuratively stood up and literally stood up to Godzilla, this Godzilla turned into this Godzilla. And again, grabbed Godzilla. I grabbed Godzilla by the arms, ripped the motherfucker off. That motherfucker hit the ground and died. Play Lord! Yeah. Now, I talked about this before, of course, but I didn't go into details like I am now. When I ripped Godzilla's arms off, that motherfucker hit the ground and died. But when Godzilla was bleeding, what was oozing out of that motherfucker was not just blood, it was black goo. And I've been talking about this black goo. And a lot of people have. This is some alien type shit. Some shit that's gonna fuck up these wicked people. They show this shit in the movies and TV shows all the time. I've already talked about this shit. Yeah, I ripped Godzilla's arms off. Bleep! Motherfucker hit the ground. Black goo started oozing out that motherfucker. This is what I want y'all to understand. And listen to this shit, niggas. All these years, I've been going to war with Godzilla in my so-called dreams. Yet, when I finally decided to stand up to that motherfucker, he became this weak Godzilla, and it took me less than a second to kill that motherfucker. Why did this big, ferocious, scary-looking, evil-ass Godzilla turn into this weak Godzilla as soon as I figuratively and literally stood up to him? That so-called dream, that vision was telling me just how powerful I and we really are. And at the same time, it's telling us that dream, that vision is telling me, is telling you just how weak the enemy really is. We are so fucking powerful, y'all. There ain't a goddamn thing the enemy can do to stop us. Once we wake up, our supernatural gifts and our supernatural powers come online, the enemy is toast. That's it. It's game over. There are many of us, millions of us, we are on such a high level that when we wake up, it would only take just one of us to put an end to everything that's going on in this world. Just like that. Snap of the finger. Thanos. That's how fucking powerful we are. And y'all need to understand that shit. They've been showing this shit in the movies with these battles and struggles and all this shit going on with superheroes, so-called good guys going against so-called bad guys. Those are entities that's on a certain level. They ain't on our level. There are millions of us who, when we wake up, it's game over. It ain't gonna be no struggle. It ain't gonna be no struggling to, pick something up and fighting motherfucker. No. Unlimited power.
It's your ass, Mr. Postman.
There ain't gonna be no fight and no struggle between those of us who are on this certain level. And this is why the enemy has been working 24 hours a day to prevent us from waking up as long as they possibly can. Because those of us who are on this particular level, the true gods and goddesses, kings and queens that's going to rule the world, the new world that's coming in after this new world order, the real world, the real kingdom. When we get into this fight, it ain't going to be no fight. They're just going to get wiped the fuck out. And those of us, our brothers and sisters, who won't be on our level, but they will have that spiritual power, they still gonna be at a higher level than the rest of these wicked ass motherfuckers. We just gonna be playing with these motherfuckers, y'all. It ain't gonna be no fight. Not like people think it is. Because once it's time for us to put an end to this thing, it's over. It's fucking over. And this is why these motherfuckers are freaking the fuck out. Every time some major energy is coming through, here they come with the chemtrails. Here they come with some distractional BS. So-and-so died and all this shit. Like DMX. Now, I told y'all a long time ago. Excuse me. I told y'all a long time ago. DMX came to me in one of my so-called dreams. Demon came with me. He came to me in a so-called dream with a whole bunch of niggas. Demons. And I beat the shit out of every last one of the motherfuckers. Now, when I beat the shit out of the motherfuckers, it was DMX and then probably about 5 or 6 more niggas with him. Demons. Me, all alone, I beat the shit out of every last one of them motherfuckers in less than a second. Spiritual power. High vibration. Moving fast like motherfucking Flash. One nigga beat the shit out of 6, 7 motherfuckers in less than a second. Bruce Lee can't fuck with me. Please. That's the power that we have. This is why these motherfuckers are freaking out. Now, obviously, you got fallen angels. They have that power where they can move real fast like the Flash. The average demon can't do that shit. Fallen angels still can't fuck with us, obviously. But people need to understand this and remember that any power that these wicked people have, fallen angels and all these motherfuckers, all the power that they have, it's nothing compared to the power that we have. And y'all need to remember this too. The power that the enemy has, that power was allowed, they was allowed to have that power. By who? Our Father in heaven. Again, who's in control? So there are many of us, millions of us, who are on such a high level. When we wake up and it's time for us to put an end to this thing, it's over. I'm sick of this fucking weather. And trains. One of my subscribers wanted to make a video with me. I want to apologize to you. You know who you are. I planned on doing that with the next video, but Spirit guided me to do this video, so eventually we will hook up. Before I close this video out, I also want to say, one of my so-called dreams, I was walking down the street. It was this block that I'm living on. It was nighttime. And a car full of demons drove by and was talking shit. So I stopped, turned around, looked at them, and them motherfuckers, backed up in the car and shit, came back to me. I picked up that motherfucking car with two hands and shook the shit out of them motherfuckers. They was all falling out of the car and shit. I've had so many supernatural dreams. And this is why the enemy is freaking out. Our power is unlimited. When I picked up that car, it was like picking up a feather. No weight at all. The fallen angels, like I said, they have more power than the average demon, but the power that they have is nothing compared to those of us who are on this high level, the true gods and goddesses. So like I said, once it is time to truly put an end to this thing, ain't gonna be no fight. We just gonna wipe their motherfucking ass out. And the last thing I want to say that that fire, those houses that was on fire the other night. And you're like, oh, this house is on fire, what's the big deal? Shit. I know about these signs, and this is a bad sign. And like I always say, I don't know the details about this type of shit. Is it specifically for me? The world? I don't know. But that's a bad sign. This wind blowing, and it's demonic energy all over the place. Positive energy as well, but there's a lot of negative energy, and here it comes. Some way, shape, or form, these niggas finna start acting a goddamn fool. Whether it's people in our personal life or these idiots on YouTube who can't stop following us around, who freak out every time we speak the truth. It's like, don't listen, motherfucker. Take your raggedy ass mouth on somewhere else. So some shit is about to go down sooner or later. There's a lot of energy that came through. Positive, yes, but negative as well. Like I said, this wind is demonic. This energy is all over the fucking place. So all I can say to y'all about this shit, this sign I just had with this house is on fire, all I can say is just be vigilant. We know something's coming. So yeah. Last time that somebody's car caught on fire down the street, I knew that was a sign. And over the next number of weeks and months, all hell broke loose. So I'm gonna end this video. I'm tired and I ain't feeling good. These wicked ass motherfuckers fucking up the weather and they chemtrails and all this shit. The fuck is that, a spider web shit? Well, anyway, I'm out of here. I'm going to sleep. Shut up, train. I am Yeshua Pandera. I'm out here, niggas. Peace.
Flop a doodle yellow bug, doodle on a ding, come a rock, top bottom, it tremble.